welcome back to the World Championship Qualifier. 4 duelists have already won their ticket to Japan. They are Maxwell Schrack playing Necroz, Noah Green playing Burning Abyss, Chase Cunningham, who we saw last round, also playing Burning Abyss, and Miguel Soto playing Ritual Beasts. Our other 4 duelists, though, who were not victorious in the last round, still have one last shot to make it in the redemption round. The 2 winners of these last 2 matches will claim the last 2 seats to represent North America at the World Championship Qualifier. In this match, we have Jarrell Winston playing his Ritual Beast deck that seems to have replaced Emergency Teleport with Mistake to give him more Game 1 longevity and hate cards against Necroz, against Jacob David Finney and his Necroz deck, which is running a lot of the same suites as we saw in TJ Kinsley's deck earlier on in day 1, including Exa, Enforcer of the Necroz.
Yeah, indeed. There are a lot of very, very cool combos involving Exa, Enforcer of the Necroz, usually also involving Great Sorcerer of the Necroz. So we'll see if that comes up and that happens. But this opening hand for Finney does not look the best in a matchup that is not the mirror.
It's actually kind of funny because it looks like Finney opened up with 2 copies of Shared Ride, which wouldn't be that bad against a Ritual Beast deck that uses Canahawk to continuously add cards to his hand from his deck.
Yeah, Ulti-Canahawk.
Ulti-Canahawk, yes. But Winston's lack of Emergency Teleport makes that less likely to happen here.
I think it's more the inclusion of Mistake. There's going to be a lot more situations where nobody's going to be searching.
That's correct.
And he starts off with Spiritual Beast or Rampengu.
With a mistaken hand at the ready.
Yeah. As we mentioned yesterday in the feature match of Jarrell Winston, he has foregone using Emergency Teleport in his main deck, a card that many duelists view as one of the most powerful cards in a Ritual Beast deck, and is instead using 3 copies of Mistake to counteract other powerful strategies.
He banishes Ulti-Gaia Pelio with the effect of Rampengu to send a Ritual Beast Tamer to his graveyard. It is Ritual Beast Tamer Elder. And it also looked like the only monster that Finney had over there was the 1 copy of Farfa. Oh no, it may also have a Clausulus. 4 face-down cards join the Rampengu, and play is back to Finney.
And he draws Shadow Dragon, which is a rather unique addition to a Necro's deck, one that you don't see very often.
Run it as part of the Armageddon Night package along with Jin Releaser Rituals and Farfa. However, the goal is to get to the Armageddon Night before you draw those other 2 cards. And it turns out that Finney has drawn 2 out of 3 in his first 6 cards.
But hey, he's just going to summon it and attack Rampengu to destroy it. So that wasn't actually that bad.
Now, if Jarrell just doesn't have anything to stop it, then Shadow Dragon is a perfectly serviceable monster with 1900 attack points.
Yes.
And if it's destroyed by a Ritual Beast Steeds, he can always just use its Shadow ability to destroy another Speller Trap.
But Winston has the Ritual Beast Ambush. So now he gets to special summon 1 Tamer and 1 Spiritual Beast back to his field, and he will special summon both of his fallen monsters.
Tamer and Rampengu are back.
You can really tell when a Necroz player draws poorly if the opponent doesn't even need to flip Mistake to beat them. So hopefully, yeah, I'm really hoping that Finney at least gets to play some amount of this game with how poor his hand was.
Ulti Apelio is banished by Rampengu to send a regular Apelio to the graveyard. And Jarrell thinks about how many different monsters he can possibly summon this turn. Banishes his 2 on-field Ritual Beasts to summon Ulti-Canahawk. Now here's a point where the Shared Rides could come in handy.
This is, but more so that he's able to use the Shared Ride just to draw another card, basically replace it for a card that isn't Shared Ride is the key thing here. So let's see if he realizes. Yeah, I'm sure he does, but
Canahawk
just make sure he
activated.
Chain links,
Targets those 2.
And then Shared Rides chain. Yep. We are good. So he'll be able to get rid of at least 1 Shared Ride, but he still has the second one in his hand, correct?
Correct.
Oh, man.
Shared Ride can only be activated once per turn. So
Tamer and Rampengu are back again. And now Drill is going to get to search. The temptation is Steeds, but you got to watch out for that Shadow Dragon effect.
Yeah. Seems like you could take another ambush.
Goes for the Steeds. I don't think he can resolve another ambush right now. He's only got one available Ritual Beast.
Right, at the moment. But between his graveyard and his field, he certainly has at least one Tamer and one Spiritual Beast. So eventually he would be able to do so.
Petalfin is now sent to the graveyard, sent to the graveyard by Rampengu by banishing Ulti Petalfin. And Drill plays Upstart Goblin after getting that extra card out of his deck. And it looks like he picked up an ambush. Oh no, it was Canhog that he picked up. Canhog's effect is activated. Put a card on layaway for 2 turns, much like Gold Sarcophagus, except with Ritual Beasts. And he takes Lara.
As you mentioned earlier, he doesn't typically add the monster he's banishing, right? It's usually used for some combo with Ulti Canahawk.
Right.
More often than not.
Okay.
Yeah, or use it for an ambush or something like that.
Okay, yeah. So it just happens if you don't pull off one of those combos, you still get it to your hand later just in case. That's pretty powerful.
And now he summons Ulti Apelio.
He has not yet gone to his battle phase.
Yeah, he has not, and by destroying that dragon in battle, he can prevent its effect from activating. Or it would activate if it were to be destroyed by a Steeds or a similar card.
Doesn't seem likely, though.
Right, now that he has the Apelio.
That does nothing when I attack, right?
Ulti Pelio attacks into Shadow Dragon, destroying it. And Canahawk attacks directly. Got the card face down. And Drill is once again handless.
Book of Eclipse for Finny, not the best draw here.
Got double Book of Eclipse, Farfa, Shadow Dragon, double Clausulus, double Shared Ride.
Wow.
He's just getting doubles of every single card that's not good against Ritual Beasts.
Can't do anything with these cards.
Well, he can actually go Necros of Clausulus and cycle it back, attributing the Farfa, and then getting Clausulus in play, so then he can prevent the Ulti Paleo from up, and that's it.
Yeah. Or he can do none of that.
Yeah. Or Mistake can just
He does not have
immediately.
any way to get rid of Mistake in his main deck.
Jarrell most definitely pulled I still had all D's when he flipped up the macrocosmos and all those trap cards there. But, yeah, what I was going to say is that Colossus is actually at least decent against Ritual Beast, right? You can keep on preventing the one Ritual Beast from splitting up, and then it can't really die by battle by them either. But I guess it gets Steeds anyway.
It also becomes a timing game because you can respond.
You
can chain your ulti Ritual Beast's effect.
Same way
to dodge it.
Yeah, but like basically what you would do is keep the Colossus up in defense, right? And then you don't activate its effect at all until they try to kill it. And then during damage step, you can use it, so then they can't break apart. And then if they try to break apart, you just chain the Colossus there.
You have to use it early against Ulti Pelio because he's unaffected by cards while attacking. And that's the only one that can actually get him.
Okay, yep, you are correct. Yeah. Man, Ulti Pelio.
So we see Winston go into Ulti Apelio a lot more than a lot of other Ritual Beast duelists. And that might be part of his success this weekend, where other Ritual Beast decks have failed.
The omission of Emergency Teleport there for cards that are good against Necros was most definitely not a mistake, given that clean win in game one. But at the same time,
I mean, did he really have to play that
exactly?
game?
Yeah, that's also what I would
so
say.
Poorly.
Yeah.
I don't think we can really make that conclusion.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure his back row could have been a ham sandwich, and he still would have been in the same position going into game two.
I feel like if you do an emergency teleport there, turn one, that would have been pretty awesome also.
He didn't need it, though.
He had the Rampengu. He would have started off with a first turn Ulti Canahawk. Of course he didn't need it.
Yeah, I think the key thing here, though, is that when dueling against Necros, you want to try to win on an axis that isn't necessarily outgrinding them or you know, using cards like Steeds and Ambush to get rid of cards, but rather just shutting them off from doing anything with cards like Mistake. That seems like a much more effective way to win the duel, especially if players have been omitting cards like Mystical Space Typhoon from their main decks because of the prevalence of other Necroz decks.
Yes, and we see here that Finney is one of those duelists who has omitted Mystical Space Typhoon from his main deck.
He's got him in his side deck, though, and he's
Yes.
got the Shadow Fusion side. I don't know, have we done any pieces on the Shadow Fusion side deck for Necrons?
No, we have not.
That's
but
interesting.
Yeah, basically the Shadal Fusion side deck is primarily effective against Burning Abyss, decks that rely heavily on using extra deck monsters so that you can get the full value out of cards like Shadal Fusion, which basically turns into Shadal Winda or El Shadal Construct, whatever you'd like. But the whole point is you're using a spell card to summon a large monster who has a good effect, and then you're also triggering a Shadal effect, usually Shadal Beast or Shadal Dragon, to either draw a card or destroy a back row. But against a deck like Ritual Beast, I think that card's a little worse because they can just respond by splitting up their extra deck monster, right?
So you will never.
Yeah,
you're basically never going to.
Yeah, you're never going to get the full value on Shadal Fusion. You usually just bring it in matchups where you are going to get the full effect of Shadal Fusion, all of the value. But this is most definitely not one of them. I think here is just going to be 3 Mystical Space Typhoon, 2 Artifact Lancia from and 2 Fairy Wind and a side blocker. Actually, all of those cards seem very good. You just want to try to deal with the back row rather than you're going to have these cards to beat the back row so then your Necroz cards can win the duel rather than trying to rely on an alternate win condition such as the Shadal Fusion package.
Torrential and Mirror Force could be useful here as well, as you really just want to keep clearing out all those monsters as they come.
Yeah.
Definitely Torrential Tribute.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't initially think about signing that, but he most definitely did, as we see it in his opening hand, which is actually fairly strong. Senju Reinforcement of the Iron Torrential Tribute.
Yeah, that one's way
better than his last hand.
And he chose to go first, which is also interesting. Usually Necroz always chooses to go second, even against decks that use cards like Mistake. Like, because you want the additional card to try to find your Mystical Space Typhoons and that sort of thing, you still see them usually going second because they want as many cards as possible. Because of the games that they don't draw Mistake, that extra card is going to help you out so much more. And then even if they do draw the card, you have a high likelihood of being able to beat it because of the extra card.
Yeah, that makes sense. But Ritual Beast decks can do a lot on their first turn, so maybe Finney thought he would try to preempt that.
Yeah.
Senju with 1,000 Hands is Finney's first summon, and he uses it to get Necroz of Unicorn. Reinforcing the Army is up next for Necroz of Klausus, which is then discarded to get Necroz Kaleidoscope.
A really cool thing that Finney could do here is activate Necroz Kaleidoscope, special summoning the Unicorn, and then searching a Necroz of Bryonic to find a Necroz of Shrit, and then overlaying for Lavalval Chain to send Necroz of Valkyris, and then cycling back the Necroz of Valkyris using the Shrit, and then probably triggering off whatever you get with the Shrit, maybe the Lavalval Chain to draw cards to leave a Valkyris face up. That usually is like a good way to get pretty far ahead in terms of field and cards.
Valkyris bigger than everything that you can reasonably put out.
Yeah.
Other than Ulti-Gaevelia.
Yeah. One thing that's especially cool, though, is if he's able to get out Lavalval Chain plus Valkyris, he can actually put Artifact Lancia on top of his deck with Lavalval Chain and then use Valkyris to draw it that same turn.
We saw that earlier.
Earlier, and it worked really well.
Yeah, that is one of the key ways you can try to fight the Necroz mirror match. So because Lancia also has a bunch of upside against Ritual Beast, I could see the same play being strong.
Unicorn now on the field, courtesy of Necroz Kaleidoscope, and the Herald of Arclight went and searched out Necroz of Valkyris.
I think he might consider signing Torrential, but maybe not. I'm not even sure how good is Necroz of Unicorn against Ritual Beasts?
Because they get to split up, and it's a cost to split them up.
So they can get around it.
Yeah, so it does nothing to
Okay, yeah, wow. Never mind. I was going to say that he could just leave the Valkyris in hand, protect it from dying, and then he has Cycle the Shrit already, so if he uses the Valkyris, he can bring it back from the graveyard with a cycle.
Going with Lavalval Chain, detaching Senju. And we have not heard which effect he's using yet.
Looks like
he's got
Jin.
That'd be the first time we've seen that card all weekend.
Really? We've yet to see it?
I don't think I've seen... Well, we've seen it set.
How good is Jin Releaser Rituals against? They have no way to just, no inherent out to Defense Mode Colossus, or?
They have a Petalfin.
Petalfin? Okay.
And they've got Steeds.
Yeah.
Which doesn't target.
Well, we'll see how this works out. I guess.
Winston also has Raigeki, Dark Hole.
He's tributing Shrit first
Oh,
cycle.
about it.
He might be doing tributing Shrit and then banishing the Djinn to summon Necros of Bryonic if he has it in his grave. So then he can also search Necros of Trishula to further protect the Necros of Bryonic. Normally, Shrit Strategist of the Necros would take up the whole entire requirement for the ritual summon, but because you still add up to the exact amount using the Djinn Releaser ritual, so 3 with Shrit and 3 with Djinn, you can summon Necros of Bryonic with a Necros ritual spell that way.
Yep, don't actually have to. Takes Branak. It looked like he wanted to change his mind.
Yeah, he probably wants something that can protect that Branak.
Honestly, I don't think he actually made the selection. I never saw him pull out or show, but...
Oh, he got... Are you talking about with Shrit? He added Necros of Bryonic.
Right, but he looked like he was going to change his mind as he was going through the deck, and he was forced to take it.
Yeah, this actually doesn't seem that strong either. Or at least I'm not the...
He'd be in a much better position, I think, if he had a Necros of Trishula or a Necros of Gungnir in his hand to protect that Branak.
Well, yeah, but there was no way to get Necros of Gungnir because he could only search a Necros Warrior. I think the issue here is that you're relying so heavily on Djinn Releaser rituals to win this game that any removal is just going to basically undo your whole entire turn one. Even though you send a lot of ritual spells in the grave so you can banish them to get more, and so you've kind of like gained a more resources that way. It still seems like he might have had a better... I don't know.
We'll see that Winston has Steeds and Ambush in his hand.
Oh, geez.
So as long as that Steeds resolves...
Yeah. See, this is exactly what
he's good.
Yeah, and we know that Feeney's set card is Torrential Tribute, right? That's another thing. I also don't think I would have made this play knowing I had Torrential Tribute in my hand. Because it seems like you want to try to get the maximum value. Like, this seems like, oh, you have to get over my Necro, my Djinn monster, or my Djinn Ritual monster, and then I'll flip my Torrential Tribute for some value. Whereas it could have just been like, oh, you know, I'll put out something that, you know, doesn't cost me too much to summon, and then if you do anything too big, I can Torrential Tribute it, and then I still have all these resources to push back. But... who knows? I mean, I say he used a lot of resources to do the Djinn Releaser rituals play, but he still had Necros of Bryonic and Necros of Valkyrie in his hand with a bunch of ritual spells in the graveyard, so it's not actually like he did too much with it.
Then he draws into Great Sorcerer of the Necros.
Yeah.
And normal summons it.
It looks like he's just going to try to be as aggressive as possible. Does Winston use any Mirror Forces or anything like that to possibly punish this?
No.
No.
But he has Steeds, so he can take out at least the Branak.
I think that I would have tried to activate Necros of Bryonic in the beginning of the turn, just to see if I can bait a Steeds.
See if you can bait it.
Yeah, and then if he doesn't, then you know maybe I don't search a Trishula or Gungnir because I think he doesn't have it. But at least trying to get like a free, like forcing him to flip Steeds, knowing that you can add a card to protect your Necros of Bryonic, seems like it might have been the optimal line there.
Love All Chain activates, this time detaching the Unicorn. And Drell's in business with his banished Zephyrin Pilica and Canahawk. Puts Manju on top of the deck. It'd be interesting to see if we get the Torrential flip off of Ambush.
Yeah. Yeah, I really would have just activated the Necros of Bryonic in my hand, actually. That just seems so much better than all this. Because if he starts his turn, draws with his Djinn Necros of Bryonic in play, and then uses the Necros of Bryonic in his hand, threatening to get a Trishula or Gungnir, that forces the Steeds. That seems so strong.
In the end phase, Ritual Beast Ambush. And Finney checks the Torrential. Scratches his head real quick, thinking about how long do you want to wait before playing the Torrential?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised he's not doing it here.
I guess he's thinking maybe he can get one more monster out of it. If he can get the normal summon for this turn.
Probably not before Canahawk searches for a card, right?
Well, it depends. Regular Canahawk or ulti Canahawk.
Ulti Canahawk. Well, Canahawk too, but I meant ulti Canahawk. So here comes the first Canahawk search.
Yeah. So where's the optimum? You said the optimum time to Torrential Tribute is basically just when they have a bunch of non-fusion Ritual Beasts, correct?
Yeah.
Because they can't respond, yeah.
If you could get those guys with Torrential before they have a chance to even become Cannahawk.
Yeah.
Alternatively, you could wait for them to try to do their defusion trick and get the monsters when they come in. Actually, no, you can't do that because it'd be a chain link 2.
Oh, geez. Okay, so yeah. So then,
yeah, the time, I think, was on the summon in the end phase, unless he thinks he can get Jarrell to throw something else out.
See, for that same reason, sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, that's very unlikely to happen.
Yeah.
I can't imagine he would summon a third monster to the field when he really doesn't have to.
And for that reason, that's why I don't like cards like Torrential Tribute against this deck, because it seems like if stopping them from doing their thing, getting Ritual or Ritual Beast Ambush and Ritual Beast Steeds, doing all that, setting it up, like your Torrential Tribute stops that if you can catch them at the right time, sure. But if that Torrential Tribute was just something that would stop the Steeds, you know what I mean? The rest of your deck is good enough to beat that combo. So,
No, but Torrential Tribute, I think, would have been pretty good there.
Right there? He has
no,
Torrential
on the
Tribute set.
ambush. On the ambush.
He has it set.
Like I'm saying, in general, against
Okay, you're saying, okay, I
the
understand
deck,
what
I think
you're
it's pretty good, as it would have been pretty good just to destroy those 2 monsters and stop the Cannahawk from ever getting summoned.
Yeah.
I think in the end it might not have mattered thanks to Lara.
He has Lara in his hand?
Yeah, he got his one-off Lara, which summons one back from the graveyard. So you could have gone with Elder, Lara, summon something else back. Yeah, it seemed like Drill just wound up with the perfect hand to deal with exactly what Finney's done here.
Yeah.
And now he's got another Steeds.
Did he need to summon that the Great Sorcerer of the Necros last turn to clear the field, or did he do it just to press for additional damage?
I think he did it just for damage.
See, I'm also not the biggest fan of that. Like, the reason that Necros, or Great Sorcerer of the Necros is so strong, right, is because of its effect when distributed. Like, that's probably why he keeps it in, right? Because he's worried about maybe, some weird thing, but mostly because of the combos with Exa Enforcer, right? But to do those combos, you need to tribute it. Like,
right.
Well, actually, no, you don't need to tribute to do those combos, because in the grave you can banish it to set up the Exa Enforcer combos. But I just feel like summoning it as a monster just to battle with doesn't seem like the best method to go about it.
Drell is continuing to play out his Cannahawks, search for more cards. He's already got a Steeds off of them. And now he has an ambush as well. Normal summons the Lara.
Now looks like when the next monster is the field.
This is when,
this
is a good
tribute.
torrential. If you don't do it now, you're not going to do it.
Yeah, but
now even if he
it's late.
splits here, the new monsters will also be destroyed.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just non-targeting destruction that clears the whole field. But, Winston already got a bunch of cards out of his ulti Cannahawk.
Yes, and the important one was the ambush, so that you can just rebuild this field.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. Both players obviously very much want to qualify for the World Championship in Kyoto.
Yeah,
and
the stakes are huge here.
As they both already lost their top 8 match, this is the playoff to see who will take the 5th and 6th slot. This is one of those.
Yes, this is the redemption round, and only one of them can redeem themselves.
Actually, I don't even know that he could split up because he'd already special summoned Zephyr Pilica this turn.
That's possible. He might not have had 2 monsters to special summon.
Zephyr Pilica, though.
See, but even here, you see how, like, the Torrential Tribute, he's still got a couple cards of Cannahawk, right? Or at least one.
Yeah.
Like,
I think he got 2 cards, right?
Yeah, so, like, if he sets Ambush and then Steeds, right? And then he's able to ambush, so then he can Steeds. The Torrential Tribute didn't do very much. So you see my point from before, where like the spell and trap card removal is probably just stronger because it deals with what you're trying to prohibit or like preemptively deal with Torrential Tribute.
I'm gonna defend Torrential Tribute against Ritual Beast to the death, Robbie.
I think he just needed to flip it on the ambush so that none of this happens.
I agree, and then the fact that he had Lara would have been unfortunate for Finney.
Yeah, it's a rough beat, but I think it's the better play to not let them start.
But the Torrential Tribute, without a doubt, could have just stopped the first Cannahawk from coming out entirely. And had Winston not had a follow-up to it, a second way that he can summon an ulti Cannahawk to the field, it would have been incredible.
Yeah, I guess another big reason why I just didn't like Torrential Tribute there was specifically because he also committed Necros or Great Sorcerer of the Necros to the field.
Yeah. That play sort of made the Torrential Tribute a little less powerful, I guess.
He was able to banish it, though, for the cycle here.
Yeah. He can still do the X Enforcer combos if he chooses to banish it. Yeah, okay, so he's going to start doing it right now, so I'm going to talk about it. If you guys visit the Konami blog for the coverage this weekend, we actually wrote a tech update article on all the combos with X Enforcer and Great Sorcerer of the Necros. But specifically what you try to do is you get Great Sorcerer to the graveyard. You banish it for a ritual spell or the effect of Necros of Valkyris, and then you use it to send X Enforcer of the Necros to your grave. And then when the X Enforcer is banished, you get to special summon the Great Sorcerer that you had banished earlier to then tribute to get additional spellcasters to your hand. But that's only really good when you're tributing initially for spellcasters so you can get so far ahead. But it seems like he probably sided out the X Enforcer.
You also have to keep the X in your deck to do it.
Yeah. So he just kept it in as like a valuable rank 4 that he can search, or level 4 that he can search to possibly make rank 4s or make his Valkyris play stronger, but not necessarily do the whole combo with X Enforcer. So.
All right, so Mirror added to the hand, and Jarrell looks like he wants to activate the ambush now, right after the Mirror has been added. And he does. Summons Lara in defense. Thinks about summoning Petalfin, also in defense. And he does. Now Necros Mirror is activated. He's got that Shurit in the graveyard, and he's just searched for a Trishula off of Brianak. 2 cards in Jarrell's hand. So while his Trishula will probably explode horribly as a result of Ritual Beast Steeds, he'll at least be able to pick away at all those cards.
Yeah, that actually still seems pretty good because he has to activate the Steeds before Trishula's
right now
effect actually picks 3 cards.
Necros of Trishula is by far the most powerful Necros monster, I believe, against strategies such as basically anything that isn't Necros. Necros of Trishula is typically the monster that wins the games. So yeah, see here he gets to get the back row that wasn't chained. Yeah, all these get a card out of your hand, a card out of your graveyard, and then now I don't have a monster on the field, so I can banish my ritual spells and keep summoning more monsters. It's so strong.
Yeah, so just like that, he might be able to turn this duel around.
All right,
does he have a
Ritual Beast Bond from the hand, along with, from the field, Ritual Beast Bond.
Oh.
Along with Pelio from the hand. At least I hope it's from the hand. He didn't set it as a spell card. That would be poor.
It's no toy magician.
And a Canahawk from the graveyard. And he takes a look at his graveyard. Still hasn't normal summoned yet. He has an opportunity to clear the field out once again if he can get another ritual monster or 2 out. Petalfin has significant defense points, if memory serves me.
I think it's 2,000.
2,000?
Okay, so has he only used Necros Mirror this turn, or has he used any other Necros ritual spells?
Just Mirror.
Yeah, so I think he can probably do a lot still because he has the Manju in his hand, I believe.
Yes,
right?
hasn't normal summoned either.
Yeah. But he does. It looked like he had a lot of mirrors banished, but I think it's only one of each copy. He can still do so much. Actually, yeah, this seems.
Yeah, things went pretty poorly pretty quickly for Winston.
I think this is going to go to game 3.
Yeah.
This looks like this is the turn he's going to capitalize, and we're going to go see a game 3, which is awesome.
Now we talked about Finney's use of that torrential tribute extensively.
Yes.
And I mentioned earlier that it would have been good to use it on the ambush to clear the field, stop the first ulti Canahawk. If he didn't have the Lara, he wouldn't have been able to make an ulti Canahawk at all. But it turns out the way he used it worked out very well for him because he was able to end have Winston end his turn with a clear field.
And he's going very aggressive again this time around.
Yeah.
Going for a 12 levels worth of ritual summons.
Armitile.
That is that?
That is Armitile.
Indeed.
Is he 12?
Yeah,
he's 12.
He is most definitely 12.
That's cool.
Both ritual monsters take out both ritual beasts.
Yes.
I mean,
that was necessary. He wanted to get those monsters off of the field so they couldn't be used to summon an ulti ritual beast.
And Manju gets in a hit as well.
Yeah, so he really turned that around this turn.
Here he can also do the Lavalval Chain Lancia play if he still has access to Lavalval Chain, but because he's generally released rituals in the grave, I assume he's already used the Lavalval Chain.
He's only got one chain.
But this would be an opportunity to do that.
Probably thinking, oh, should I have a second chain?
Yeah. Two Lavalval chain was actually pretty popular for a while.
Yeah, I saw it for a while. And
it was
fell
like
out of
two
favor.
Daigusto Emerald and two Lavalval chains were the ones that people were really trying. And then the Telenite Ptolemaeus came out.
That's what
and
happened. Ptolemaeus took that spot.
Yep.
And if you played two of both, then Consular Diamond took the other spot.
Indeed. And then with Shaddoll Fusion, that's even more cards you need to commit to your extra deck. So it's a pretty tight fit, especially for Finney.
He appears to draw no cards off of the effect of Valkyris, keeping all of his monsters on the field.
And I don't think that's... I think I might have just traded the Senju for a card. I think the 1400 attack level 4 might not be the most optimal, but...
And he's got Elder for the extra normal summon and Apelio. Once again, just draws the perfect thing to stay in this.
Yeah, he only had one card in his hand, so he drew the other one.
Maybe it's just Drill's weekend.
He's just trying to get back to Japan. We see him wearing the World Championship jersey that he was given in 2012 when he went to Japan.
He went to Japan the first time.
Yep, so...
It's a great place.
Yep, he's trying to return. This is it.
Helio effect is activated. He's up to 2,300 now while he's on the field. Not going to get past that Valkyris, though. Keeping the Valkyris around for as long as possible is key. I believe Drill's used 2 out of 3 steeds.
Another reason why I think I would have used Necros of Valkyris is here one of the cards you could probably lose to is Raigeki, or at least would put you back into a position where you may lose. And just being able to trade as many cards as you can from the field for cards in your hand so you don't lose them all to Raigeki would seem nice. So see how easily like the Manju got just destroyed by
Blown
battle
out
there. Yeah.
by a 2,300
like
Helio.
Yeah.
And he goes for Altacanahawk.
And I'm sure he knows the trick to get around Unicore based on his success thus far in the tournament.
He would certainly have to.
There's a lot of banished cards. Looks like he'll be able to do a lot of Canahawk effects.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the point. I don't think Necros typically has a problem with your opponent doing a bunch of Canahawk effects, getting a couple searches with ambush and steeds. But at this point in the game where they have had to use so many resources to deal with the first wave, it's this like the late game Canahawk combo that can seal the deal.
Picks up steeds. And he counts.
Yeah, just trying to figure out the optimal line. See if he can just end this right here rather than go to a game 3.
Possible now that he has steeds.
Yeah.
This is actually a very back and forth game.
Goes ahead and banishes another monster for Apelio. And then banishes his 2 monsters again. For Altacanahawk.
Once again. Man, that card's so good. So strong. Jeez.
He's got to make sure that he doesn't try to summon monsters that he's already summoned this turn. That would be disastrous.
What's the effect of the pendulum?
It is virtually identical to Lara. It summons a monster from your graveyard.
All right. Oh, but graveyard instead of your banished? Lara's banished? Or
no, they're both from your graveyard.
Oh, okay.
When is banished. Is that from Pelica?
When is banished. Okay, that's it. Okay, yeah. I remember one of them was like the Volvol cannon or whatever that guy was.
Is that from Pelica destroys the monster at the end of the turn, though.
Okay, okay.
Looks like...
But you just use it as another name, right? So you can keep doing your combos, basically?
Yep.
That's the... Okay.
It's the 4th Beast Tamer.
All right. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense for the inclusion, then.
When is banished by regular Canahawk. And then 2 are combined. For Altacanahawk again.
So he has added what cards was in this turn?
He's got the ambush and Steeds.
Okay, yeah, so the 2. And then, yeah. Steeds. So would you... Yeah, no, that's... man, I was going to say, do you preemptively... Actually, do you think he has a way to... Is there a way to effectively get over Necros of Valkyries without using the Steeds? Or without waiting to use the Steeds? Can he do it this turn?
No, because he's already battled.
Okay, yeah. So do you think he would shotgun and activate the ambush and then Steeds immediately, like during the draw phase, to try to... Or I guess you can unfuse and then use the Steeds.
Looks like that's what he's going to do, but Finney picked up Book of the Clips.
Oh, jeez.
The Steeds only hits face-up cards, right?
Right,
yeah.
But he's also got the ambush, but that still won't help because the
they'll
monsters will
come
be
out,
summoned and then they'll be flipped.
Wow.
And
finally, Finney gets a huge draw.
Jeez, yeah, that was crazy.
Actually,
so he's thinking
about
anyway.
chaining the ambush, so they'll...
Okay, I think he's trying to understand how the chain links will...
Well, if he chains the ambush... Oh, no, the Eclipse is already resolved. Has the... Oh, no, I think he's contesting whether or not the Eclipse has resolved. Because if it hasn't, he can activate his own ambush, and then he'll have 4 monsters that are flipped face down by Book of Eclipse.
Yeah, get some
and
additional
that
drops.
would mean that Finney would be tasked with the job of destroying all 4 of them, so that Winston can't draw cards when they flip face up.
And it's looking like they are allowing the activation of the ambush.
But at the same time, like clearing away a field like that, I don't think is necessarily the hardest thing for Necros to do. So, like here, he can flip summon both of his monsters.
Right, so he can easily destroy 2 of Winston's monsters.
Yeah, but then he gets 2 draws. He gets 2 draws to find cards like Decisive Armor, like anything like that. Decisive Armor or some way to assemble... I guess he's gone through so many ritual spells, actually. He might be pretty depleted. Yeah, I think he has no copies of Kaleidoscope left. He has 1 in his banish, 1 in his grave.
He's got a cycle.
Cycle in hand. That means the only ritual spell he has left in his deck is Necros Mirror. But, yeah, excuse me?
Yeah, I don't think he can flip all 4 of those monsters face up.
You mean destroy them? Or what do you mean?
Or just get them face up so Winston can't draw cards.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, checking out the defense.
Yeah. He's also checking out which ones are Tamers.
Okay.
And which ones are... Takes out 2 Beasts because the Tamers don't really do a whole lot on their own.
Yeah, I mean,
so
he could have gambled with the Valkyries to try to draw cards. Maybe pull a Dark Hole or a Raigeki.
Jarrell's hoping that he comes up with a Dark Hole or a Raigeki.
I thought Jarrell was out of this game, but after... Oh, jeez.
That's 3 cards, but none of them are...
Yeah, nothing proactive.
Wow.
Yeah, he's out of everything.
3 cards. All he could do is set them and watch as his 2 monsters
Pilica should go to the extra deck there.
Yeah.
Yes. What were those 3 cards? Does anyone know?
No, he just drew very quickly and then set them all, so we'll see.
If it's... The most Jarrell thing, I think, would be if they were 3 copies of Mistake.
Yeah, that would be a... Oh, Finney also has Lancey in his hand, so just in case.
Wow.
Jeez. Let's see what happens. Oh, man.
That's exactly the sort of stuff that happens every time we see Jarrell play. It's just something that's completely unlikely and almost impossible. It always happens.
Yeah.
Summons Spiritual Beast Apelio.
So it can increase its attack enough to crash with the Necros of Unicor, right?
Oh, he drew Torrential.
He's changing the effect. Oh. That makes sense. Is there a reason? Oh, yeah, I guess it's the only time. Never mind.
Is he out of ambushes? Could he have picked up an ambush?
He can't.
No,
okay, yeah. Okay, so now he realizes that. Okay, that's corrected. That's good.
Yeah.
I think all the ambushes have been used. Okay. Otherwise, I would imagine he would have searched for another one with Cannonhawk. I think he had that capability.
Picks up a...
Oh, Necros of Unicorn. This is very good. If he has any copies of... Oh, nope. All right, does he have a Necros of Bryonic? It looks like he has a Bryonic. So Bryonic can get Necros of Shrit, hopefully. This would be... Yeah. Oh, God. This is going to be difficult. So now... Oh, here's the mistake, probably.
All right. So one of the 3 was a mistake for sure.
And now he activates Cycle. Contributing 1 Unicore to summon the other.
All right.
Unicore attacks. And drills down to 2,400. Enough to give him 2 more turns.
Yes.
Sets a card.
I feel like having that mistake face up while Winston's behind isn't too great for him.
Summons Manju. No torrential this time.
Yep, and that's
That does it for game 2.
pushing it to a game 3. Oh, man.
Wow. That was a great duel.
This is getting out of control.
I am on my toes. So,
One last duel will decide it. And this is after Finney chose to go first in the second duel. So we'll see what Jarrell decides he wants to do this time around. I would assume he would like to set his traps.
I feel like Finney might put that Book of Moon back in his deck after seeing that. Yeah, Book of Eclipse. You usually see this a lot with players, actually, where they see a card be so good one game that they just they overvalue it in later games. Yeah. And I think that's what's going to happen with Book of Eclipse, and we might actually see it kind of backfire.
Yeah, he's kind of tricking himself here.
I don't know that he's overvaluing it so much, though, because Book of Eclipse does turn off steeds.
Yeah.
And that can let him clear things out.
That's what
easily.
it did. That's what it did there.
Yeah, but I'm worried about those games where he's not losing to steeds necessarily, but more so like mistake, and then he just because I'm pretty sure he just sided out Shadal Dragon. Drawing Shadal Dragon instead of drawing a Book of Eclipse in those situations, you can usually tribute Shadal Dragon some way for some ritual spell.
Shadal Dragon actually seems very powerful. Just because it has 1,900 attack, it can destroy a lot of the ritual
and it could be that he's taking it out just because of the negative experience he had in the first game, drawing all of his Armageddon Knight pieces.
Oh, that's possible.
So we have a bit of confirmation bias and whatnot. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens, I guess.
1,900 monsters that you can normal summon is pretty valuable.
Yeah.
As we saw in that duel, that he was basically down to his last ritual spell. So having more monsters that you can draw on normal summon could be helpful as well.
Even in Duel 1, Finney was off to a good start when he summoned his Shadow Dragon and destroyed Rampengu, but it was downhill from there.
Yeah. Drell is ready.
Duel shake hands.
Jacob is ready.
And of course, obviously, the Dragon's flip effect is very valuable in this matchup. For the potential.
Card? Yeah, because one place they can't defuse is in a damage step.
Yeah, but how often do they attack with Konag versus the Apelio, right?
Just about never.
Yeah, so the Apelio will mitigate it, right?
That's true.
And
unless they attack with a smaller monster
first.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you might be able to flip and bounce a mistake or get that off the table for a turn. It's situational and unlikely.
But, I'm going first.
But it could be powerful.
For you to successfully deal with a mistake for a turn, though, you'd have to have it survive to flip someone. Yeah, but Fairy Wind.
Not easy.
At least something.
Fairy Wind seems like it could have a big
how
impact
many
here.
spell and trap removal cards he put in.
I would assume as many as he could, but the omission of Shadal Dragon.
Once again, starts off with Elder.
Very good start.
Without
Elder
playing. This is
very
it.
good start
Wow.
for a deck that doesn't play teleport.
Yeah, but
I mean, if you're just going to hard draw the Elder every game,
Yeah.
along with
You
one
don't need
I
it.
guess you don't need it.
You don't need to teleport.
Benny's hand isn't that bad, though.
No,
he has
good.
the tools to fight, assuming that. But the issue is that since that Fairy Wind isn't something like Twister that he can use, or Mystical Space Typhoon, something that he can use on his first turn.
Yeah, if he got the mistake in the starting 5, he could be in trouble.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because he's going to have to wait to use the Fairy Wind, which might be too late.
Yeah, he might be out of the duel by then.
Yes, exactly. Or maybe not necessarily out of duel, but so far behind
he could
that.
be virtually out of the duel.
Flips him back. Rampengu activates again.
I'm a big fan of Rampengu.
Who isn't? He's a penguin. No. Is he a penguin?
Yeah.
I guess he's a colorful penguin.
Could be colorful and a penguin.
Yeah.
Ulti Apelio, or Ulti Guy Apelio, is the next monster sent by, the next monster banished by Rampengu, sending a Tamer.
I'm a fan of all the ritual beasts.
As you've made clear to us throughout the weekend, Michael.
Yes.
Looks like another Elder.
Let's see if we can figure out what the rest of Terrell's hand is. Just see how much he can really get done.
Yeah, I'm curious to know.
Yeah. I mean, actually, no. It's just more exciting if we don't know. So.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah,
we get to be surprised with the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Ulticanahawk
Until
is
it comes
back.
up on the display.
Well, then we'll know too.
Yeah. So we'll see.
And Drill uses it once again. And he gets ambush. Ambush and Steeds to start off seems pretty good.
He's holding his hand about as perfectly as he could.
Guess he's trying to avoid any audience reaction.
Yeah.
As we hear quite a lot of that.
I think that is actually one of the smarter things he could be doing.
Yeah, so could be what it is.
I mean, after that bit of showboating in game 1 where he flipped up all of his cards after showing how good his opener was, I don't think Darrell's necessarily against the audience reacting. It's just he wants to make sure that it doesn't cause any interference with what else is going on.
Senju and Manju.
Yeah, actually not the best draw because he already has one in his hand, so he can't normal summon both.
Yep, ambush immediately activated. And I guess we know that that other card is Steeds now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's at least no mistake.
Which is very good news. I'm pretty sure that Finney can set up an absurdly powerful turn. Let's see.
So Winston, first of all, immediately uses the effect of Apelio so that if he needs to, he can swap out that LT Cannahawk.
I think, yeah. With Steeds in the back, yeah, see, I don't think the Steeds is even going to be that effective here. Here, he can search Necrozma Colossalos, then use Necrozma Colossalos to get Kaleidoscope, and then Kaleidoscope out Unicorn, searching Necrozma Bionic, right? And with that Bionic in hand, he can discard for Necrozma Trishula, and because he already has the Colossalos and the Mirror, he has the Colossalos in the graveyard with Bionic in the graveyard, and Necrozma Mirror already in his hand, he can banish both to equal the total level 9 to summon Trishula, right? But he has 2 level 4s already in place, so he doesn't need to do that immediately. And he can actually try to bait out the Steeds by doing something like Diamond Direwolf, etc. Yeah, just force that, and then Necrozma Trishula him when it matters. And that's, yeah.
Exciton would be
that's going to be the
fascinating here.
I don't know that he can get the card differential he needs for Exciton, though.
Yeah, that's why I think something like Diamond Direwolf, just to get Steeds off the table.
Winston has at least 5 cards,
Goes
right?
for Brionac into Clausulus into Kaleidoscope.
This is effectively the same thing, because rather than searching Necrozma Bionic off of the Herald of Arclight, like I mentioned before, he can just go straight for Necrozma Trishula. Yeah, but the reason I like searching Necrozma Bionic is because it lets you have the option of searching for something else if your play to summon Necrozma Trishula isn't actually the best thing once you Diamond Direwolf and something goes wrong.
How many cards are in Winston's hand?
2.
2. So he has 6 cards. So what Finney could do is Xyz summon Exciton Knight, discard Brionac from his hand.
Yeah, but he already used Necrozma Bionic. That would have been another thing.
He did?
Yeah, he could have activated Necrozma Bionic, putting him at a deficit in cards, and then used Evil Swarm Exciton Knight.
And Drell goes ahead and blasts away the Unicorn. But only the Unicorn. With his Steeds.
So he I guess he doesn't want Finney to banish a ritual spell card and Necros monster from his graveyard, which you could do if his clear were field.
Right.
If his field were clear.
Yeah, and he also wants to prevent something like Evil Swarm Exciton. Oh, there was 3 cards in his hand.
Wow, he's letting it hit?
Well, what else can he? Are you saying you
tag out the Cannahawk?
Yeah, to tag out the Cannahawk.
Get 2 monsters onto the field,
to get it
and
back
then
into the extra deck.
You'll
and
have
then,
a good chance of at least keeping 1 monster.
Yeah.
Now it looks like
it actually looks like he's changed his mind.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I guess he was just laying out his hand.
Yeah, when you see that, it kind of gives
looked
us
like
the feeling of acceptance.
Yeah, but that is not what happened. So Trishula can only hit 1.
And then he'll be able to destroy 2 by battle.
Yes.
It still seems like it might be enough to, depending on what he hits out of the hand.
Yeah, depending on what Winston has.
Do you actually want to banish any of their cards with Necrozma Trishula during the... Oh.
What's going on?
I think the table judge is making them rewind because that Winston might have accepted, like acknowledged that Trishula was indeed resolving and then tried to go back and split out, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's forcing him to keep the
Cannahawk
Cannahawk in play, yeah. So, obviously, he just banishes the Cannahawk here, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a trick. Oh, jeez.
They've been calling this one pretty tight. We saw it last time around where, or last game when Finney just slightly flashed the Brionac out of his deck during that search.
And they made him search it.
And they made him take it.
I mean, if there's any time to just play by the rules. It's when all the money's on the line.
As long as you're calling it consistently,
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Exactly. I completely agree.
It's always a good time to play by the rules unless you are Maximilian Pegasus in the Pegasus Challenge.
Well, then you make the rules.
You make the rules then. But yeah, so now it looks like Finney's turn is going to end with Winston having 0 monsters on his field.
Yeah, and because he picked up that Manju earlier, his next turn is probably going to be just as powerful with Fairy Wind set too, so even something like Mistake might not necessarily spell out a...
Jarrell's got the Elder again.
Wow, that's a third Elder.
And Rampengu.
So this is, yeah,
pretty
just
good.
like he
if
had
there's
to
any
begin
way to
with.
get back in the game, this is it. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
He really doesn't need teleport.
No.
It's
Yeah,
I don't know if I should call it a skill or a talent or whatever it is, but Elder Rampengu just finds its way to his hand.
Yep.
It's incredible. I've never seen anybody open
Elder
Rampengu
Rampengu so often, yeah.
and then draw into Elder Rampengu later in a game.
Yep. Let's see.
And of course, there was also a chance that Finney would get rid of one of those cards from
Yes.
Winston's
Yeah,
hand.
he also
Yeah,
had to
that's the
miss
other
one of the
thing.
combo
Yeah.
pieces. Yep. Oh, jeez, oh, jeez, oh, jeez.
He sends Petalfin to the graveyard. And now he's going to combine his 2 monsters and decide what he wants to summon.
And I think he has access to everything except Zephyr Pilica at this point.
So he takes the obvious choice, Ulti Canahawk, uses its effect. Gains its evasion ability to swap it out for a Tamer and a Spiritual Beast. And what will he be adding to his hand now?
A big pile of mistakes on the bottom of his deck.
And it looks like he's taking Ritual Beast Steeds, which seems like an
And time has run
obvious
out.
choice.
Jeez.
Wow.
Time has run out in the round. Time is up during Jarrell's turn, so after this turn, there will be 3 more, which means Finney will get 2 more turns after this, while Jarrell will only have 1.
Yeah.
And he's not exactly in a position to generate any sort of offense this turn without doing something risky like attacking into the Manju.
Yeah.
Do we know Finney's set card?
It's got to be Fairy Wind.
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. No, yeah, we saw it earlier, my bad. I was just
Yeah.
making sure.
That deals damage to both of them, though,
Both
so that
players.
won't change the calculation of who's would win in overtime.
Now knowing the time has run out, we'll see if that changes what his search is going to be,
Yeah.
or what he's going to send away. Oh, okay, he's activated the Rampengu again.
So gets rid of an Ulti Canahawk to his banish zone to send a regular Canahawk to his graveyard.
One aspect of Necros that actually makes it so powerful, specifically involving Necros Atrishula, is that you want to deal with the large 2700 attack monster in play, right? Because if you leave it there, then you have to, you're probably going to lose this 2700 attack monster. But as soon as you get rid of it, if you're not banishing it, if you return to the grave, or if you send it to the grave or return to the deck, they're going to be able to summon it again.
Yeah.
So
It's
if
that
Jarrell-
ever-looming threat.
Yeah, if Jarrell can't empty his hand, so if he has any monster, right, and he just can't get it out, he's still susceptible to Necros Atrishula the following turn.
I feel like Cowboy is one of his biggest concerns now because
Oh, yeah, on the last turn?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's very liable to see that.
That's why I suspect he's thinking about whether or not he wants to go for the Ulti Apelio play and get 1200 damage in on that Senju.
Ooh, Ritual Beast spawned. He might just go for Ulti Gaia Pelio. Won't have its effect, but it has more attack points than any other monster.
Yep, he goes for it, and it also gets another card out of his hand.
Yeah, but he could have set that effectively, right? Because it's a quick play spell. Like, the cards in hand that matter are the monsters, because you can't set them.
Yeah, but here he can do damage
He wants
right
the big
now,
damage.
here and now.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
bigger than Trishula.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually don't think you attack over Trishula, though. I think
I-
you attack into the Senju, because
Yeah,
I
you force
agree.
them to attack the Trishula into your monster. Thus, basically, they lose their whole battle phase. See, I think
Okay,
this
so
is a...
he disagrees with us.
Now
He goes for less
he's
damage and
open
destroys the
to
Trishula.
being rank forward.
Yeah, see, because
Yeah.
Unicorn's in the graveyard, he can summon Manju, search Necros Cycle, activate Necros Cycle, tribute the... oh, but he's already... Oh, no. Oh, geez. Yeah, because he banished the Brownic.
Did he get Steeds out of his deck? Was that his search with Canahawk?
I believe
Yes,
so.
I think so.
We'll see what...
Ooh.
I actually don't think that Necros of Valkyries necessarily changes too much. Because he can... Oh, actually, no. It's very good. Because he can manage you for Necros Mirror, activate Necros Mirror, banishing the Unicorn, and tributing the Great Sorcerer from his hand, then triggering the Great Sorcerer to add back either Bryonic, the Unicorn he just banished, or Colossalos. Getting another card to his hand. He can make a rank 4. He has Valkyries. I think Finny might have this.
Yeah, what is that? Can't take out everything.
What is that Ritual Beast in his hand?
The Ritual Monster?
Ritual Monster.
Necros of Valkyries. So I think he can... Yeah, I think the optimal line here is summoning the Manju and searching for Necros Mirror. And then with that, he tributes the Great Sorcerer from his hand, banishes the Unicorn, summon Valkyries. He gets the trigger Great Sorcerer to add back either the banished Necros of Bryonic or the Necros of Unicorn.
I mean, before he does that, can't he just make a rank 4 like Castiel?
I think he needs to get past Steeds, if I remember correctly.
Well, that's fine, because that would... So
yeah, no. But no, here he can... But you're right. Like, before activating that Crosmere, he can just Diamond Direwolf. But the issue is that, like, you want to deal as much damage as possible at the same time. So you have to figure out the best way to do all of this. Which, yeah, I think Diamond Direwolf is actually probably... Or Castel.
Well, how many ways can he destroy the Guy of Helio, though? Because the first way... You know, if he goes for a rank 4 monster, he'll lose it to the Steeds.
Which isn't the biggest deal, though, because he loses it to Steeds, right?
Then how does he beat Guy of Helio?
The 3,100 attack?
3,200, I believe. I'll double check that.
Yeah, well, without any Necros of Decisive Armor in his deck, he can just summon a Necros of Colossalos and reduce its attack to 0 and just attack.
That would be interesting.
And then force Drell to deal the difference in damage with a single draw. And he might actually be able to search a Necros of Valkyries as well, or keep a Necros of Valkyries in his hand, so then the next battle phase doesn't even matter. So I think that, that actually might be the best way to go about things, is using Necros of Colossalos. Or Necros of Bryonic. He can also just Bryonic it, bounce it away,
Can he summon Colossalos?
Yeah, he can for sure summon Colossalos, or, like, here, okay, so he does the same play we were talking about earlier, right? But when he Necros mirrors out the Valkyries, he adds back Necros of Bryonic, discards it for Necros of Shred, tributes away the Necros of Valkyries to draw a card, then banishes it from his grave to get Necros Cycle, then cycles back the Bryonic using the Shred he searched, getting another search off Shred, and then bouncing the Guy of Helio, and then attacking 2,300.
Yeah, I think Finny just needs to take his time.
Yeah,
and like figure out those lines. Yeah.
So if you're right, and if he can summon Colossalos, he pretty much wins because he'll turn Guy of Helio down to 0 attack. And Senju can just attack over it.
Well, you'd rather just probably summon Necros of Bryonic if you can, because it just completely gets rid of it.
That
it's a larger monster.
Yeah, that's equally effective.
Yeah, see,
Klausless is the search off Bryonic, and then Klausless is also discarded for a ritual spell. Gets the cycle.
Oh, this might mean, okay, yeah, he might cycle back the Necros of Unicorn.
Cycle into the Unicorn.
Yeah. This is also another line. There's so many lines with Necros, and that's a big reason why it's such a strong deck, because even though there's so many things he can do here, right, to probably give him the game, but it's those games where there's like this one specific line you can take to win, and if you can find that line, that's when it matters.
Yeah, it's a tough deck to play because there are so many options.
Yes, that's why we usually see so many players going to time as well, because they take so much time to think about all those lines with this deck.
Tributes the Great Sorcerer. Checks his extra deck one more time before making his search. It looked like Valkyries was the initial choice, the initial idea. He's careful to keep it firmly in his deck and not reveal it at all. And does look like he kept the Eclipses in.
Yeah. Well, we saw him put in at least an extra one, so.
Yeah. It would be foolish to take an Eclipse out to add one in. So probably has both of them in there.
Yeah.
Checks his extra deck one more time. He keeps looking at the Cowboy. Does he have a Castel? Oh my goodness.
He doesn't play Castel.
He does not play Castel. He crossed it out along with Kane Gorgon before the event began off of his deck list to replace it with El Shaddai Winda and El Shaddai Construct.
Yeah, but I also don't think that's the biggest deal either here, because he can just Diamond Direwolf it away and then Ritual Summon out anything and just declare an attack. Or do one of the other, like several things we mentioned, all the other lines. So, but I do agree that the omission of Castel is probably quite risky, but he's managed to get all this way doing all that, so there's something.
There have been notable omissions in both decks featured in this match.
I actually, for a while, I considered the omission of Castell from the deck if you're using Tellarknight, Ptolemaeus, and Constellar Pleiades, because it gives you a way to deal with it. He can Abyss Dweller to pump the attack of Necros of Valkyries because it has water material, and just go about things like that.
Guy Pelio
yeah, this actually deals the most damage, probably.
With that's to keep the monster on the field.
Diamond Dire Wolf, I think, would do more.
No, because here you deal 2,200 with Dweller as well.
Oh, that's right. The Dweller also gets 500. You're right.
So you get 100 plus 2,200.
Yep, so 23. Well, actually, so yeah, the Diamond Dire Wolf was better. But this leaves you with a bigger board, I guess. A bigger field.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Wow. And Drell can't do it.
Jeez.
That was a close match.
Yeah, that was a tough match. And in the end, they ran out of time to play it.
I don't think that necessarily mattered, though, because Jarrell was down to one card. I don't think that one card would have mattered.
I agree.
Yeah.
But it looks like Jacob David Finney will be one of the last two into the World Championship.
Punched his ticket here.
Yeah.
With Necros. We saw a lot of interesting stuff there that we didn't really get to see in our match with Kinsley yesterday, because things just didn't work out after the whole multiple
Well, we still didn't get to see any cool Exa Enforcer combos.
True, he sided it out.
Yeah.
We had it, but he sided it out.
Yeah. Out of all the things this weekend, I think the Exa Enforcer Great Sorcerer innovation is my favorite.
Yep.
Like, because it's most definitely this very interesting combo where you read Great Exa Enforcer and you're like, oh, well, I can't special summon any of my ritual monsters. But so then you think about the effect monsters you can special summon, Great Sorcerer and Dance Princess, but seeing that the Great Sorcerer alone can do that whole combo, because the combo with Great Sorcerer and Necros of Valkyries has existed this whole time.
Yep.
And it has been very popular, but the addition of Exa Enforcer to go that additional step is great.
And so that'll wrap it up for the redemption round, but there is still one last match waiting for you, and that is the final round.
Indeed.
And we will see that soon enough.